Everybody, and welcome. I'm Jennifer Marshall, Executive Director of This Is My Brave, and we're back for another interview with one of our St. Louis storytellers, Miss Belinda Brin. We are going to be talking about what it's like to have gone through the production process of being a part of This Is My Brave during a pandemic. So, Belinda, fill us in on, first and foremost, what made you want to be a part of This Is My Brave?
Well, my daughter, I think, actually pushed me in this direction. I retired a couple of years ago. Since then, I've been doing a lot of writing. I've been doing a lot with storytelling. And a general announcement was sent out, and she sent it my way through a friend and said, "Mom, I think this would be great for you." So she knew I was involved in some other storytelling activities, and I found out about the audition, wrote my piece, and showed up.
She did. We loved having Belinda show up at auditions. And Belinda, you, like, part of your storytelling activities was an improv group, right?
Oh yeah, I did improv for a number of years, and contrary to popular thought, there is rehearsal involved with improv, and you practice at being spontaneous, and it got to the point where it was taking up a lot of my time. I'm still involved a little bit with the improv community here in St. Louis. And in fact, that's how I got led into storytelling, was through one of their workshops. And then through that workshop coordinator into a writing workshop. So yeah, improv and the whole comedy field and then writing in that vein has been what I've used to take up my time for the last couple of years.
So you're not really a newcomer to this space, but tell us, is this your first time kind of talking about your mental health on stage?
It definitely is. It's something that I had talked to my closest friends about, but actually right after I had gotten the notice of this, I was at dinner with somebody that I'd known for probably 20 years. And I told her that I was going to be doing this, her and her husband. And she looked at me and she was shocked. She said, "I can't believe that, this is something I didn't know about you, first of all. I would have never thought that was you." And she asked me a question. She said, "What does it feel like to be depressed?" And I thought, how do you explain that to someone who maybe has never had that feeling in their whole life? And the last person that I'd ever had to explain that to was my husband many years ago when we were talking about it. It's like, well, what does it feel like? But it was the first time in a long time that I had to kind of stop and think. That's a very good question. And particularly to somebody that I'd known for so long, who was trying to fit my pieces together with what she knew about me and now this new information. So it was interesting.
Well, I think it's a beautiful way to express yourself, to be able to get up and use your love of storytelling and comedy to shine a light on mental health and what we go through, so many of us. So tell us a little bit about your piece without giving it away too much.
My whole life, I've struggled with depression. From the time I was in, at that time, junior high, I think they call it middle school now. But about that time, it became an issue, and I didn't have a title for it. I didn't really know how to explain it. My mother was always, "Get out of the house, go do something," and I was stuck. And then as I got older and was able to put a label on it and recognize what I was dealing with, it's just been something that I have over the years either successfully dealt with or not so successfully. There have been some dark times, and but I do have to say that I don't know that you ever feel in control, but I feel that I'm able to live with myself and these issues and live around it much better in the last 20 years or so.
And your stories, oh, go on.
Okay, so the piece that I wrote is about how do you deal with depression? And what are some of my truths that I've learned and some of the strategies that I've used, sort of tongue in cheek, some a little more on the edge, I guess, a little more honest. But I think that's the way I sort of approach life too.
Well, we were talking before we went on the air, and you were saying about, you know, part of us, I think a lot of us who deal with the depression and anxiety tend to wear a mask, which I think, to what we're going through right now in this pandemic is just so kind of ironic. Like, we all have this mask we have to wear. But This Is My Brave is all about taking off that mask and talking about it. And so I think that's something that is important to bring to light, and to recognize that we all go through these ups and downs. And I love how you share different coping skills and coping mechanisms that you're working through. And I think a lot of people are going to relate.
Yeah, Belinda's piece is it's funny and it's heartfelt, and then she makes me cry at the end every time I cry. But I love it, and I love when, okay, not that I love that we live with mental illness, but like that we don't all look the same, and we don't all have the same symptoms or affects in our lives of how we are living in recovery. So I love that this led you to, a quick conversation with one of your good friends about living with depression, because it's so easy for us to hide things, and not that you even were intentionally hiding it, but then it just creates that space to have those conversations and enlighten people that we don't all look the same, and it's not just laying in bed all day or crying, that there's a lot of different things that go into taking care of our mental health. So I love that.
Belinda, so I have to ask, what do you hope that the audience takes away from hearing your story? What do you hope they gain?
I think one of the things that I hope people would gain from this is that sometimes you have to ride things out, that there's not an instant solution. There's not often immediate success when you try different things. And if that doesn't work, it's sometimes trying another. That it's easy to say, yeah, you should laugh a lot. But how do you do that? I mean, it's different for all of us, and what touches us and what, tickles us and makes us giggle is not going to be the same. So realizing there's not a one-size-fits-all prescription, but there can be a sampler box, if you will, things that we can try. And if that doesn't work, can we try something else that might fit us a little better, and hopefully, give us a little more light and a little more direction in a way to go.
I'm also curious to know how you've been doing through this coronavirus since March. Like, when you heard the show was going virtual and you had to, really kind of stay home, be safe, and how have you been handling things?
Well, that has been interesting. I was doing pretty good and made it through April pretty well because I can entertain myself. But then when they announced that we were going to have at least another month, I just like went into shock. At least, where I live, it was, oh, we're going to be closed down again for the month of May. And I thought, oh my gosh, another whole month. How the heck? Now I've used all my ideas. Now what am I going to do? So what I found is I had to come to terms with it. Mm-hmm. How, that this is out of my control. I have no impact on the direction of this except for myself. And what I've found is I've kind of been riding through different waves of things. I went through the art wave, I went through the reading wave, I went through the, oh my gosh, this is terrible wave. I've gone through the let's binge another TV show wave, and then kind of circled back. I do have a little tiny group of people that I get together with that I trust. I know they're being very, very safe in what they're doing. So I'm not exactly isolated, but I do spend a lot of time alone. I live by myself with my pets. So that's a whole another challenge. Is I'm an introvert, but I mean, there's a limit. So,
yeah.
But yeah, right now I'm in the reading wave. So
I hear you. I went through the art wave, I think this weekend. I was painting some watercolor stuff, and it helps to stay creative. And but I think we've all been going through those ups and downs of this. Um, how has it been interacting with your cast, like doing the virtual rehearsals and such?
it's nice to see other people and talk to them and to hear how they're dealing with it or not dealing with it. There have been a couple people that beyond the cast get-togethers, we started texting a little bit and talking about, what's going on or something we've seen on TV, and I'll get a text from someone that says, "Oh, I know you were watching that." And yep, I was. So it's been good. It forms another little support group out there that you're able to reach into. And also we've made some plans to get together after this is all over, hopefully. Someday it will be, I'm hoping.
Yeah. We are getting there. We are surely getting there. And Belinda, we so appreciate you being a part of this organization and coming forward to share your story. We can't wait to get your piece out with the rest of the storytellers from St. Louis. So thank you so much for being with us today. And we look forward to being in touch.
Great. It's been a pleasure. Thanks.